So the markets are continuing to climb higher here post Microsoft and Meta earnings. And we're going to talk about why here, as we've mentioned this kind of over the last couple of days here, as we'll get into it. We also have Amazon and Apple reporting after the bell, and we'll be covering that in the members live stream today. But anyways, it is Thursday, May 1st, 2025. Don't forget to give the video a thumbs up. Appreciate you subscribing to the channel. Come find me on carnivoretrades.com for swing trading alerts analysis and a live day trading. Close out a lot of winners here today and over the last week here on this rally. And it's a hated rally. And that is effectively the reason why it keeps going up. We've talked about this over the last couple of days, last week. But the market does not need to pull back just because you think it's overbought. The market does not need to do anything. We are a little stretched up into resistance here. We talked about this yesterday. We wouldn't be surprised if we saw a dip here, but again, we also wouldn't be surprised if we pumped higher. And we've been continuing to just been maintaining this strategy here of stay long, hold runners, trim on the way up, and that's been rewarding here thus far this week. But again, I'm just concede this continued mentality of we can't go up, we can't keep going up. It has to pull back. It has to do this. It has to do that. The market does not have to do anything. I've learned that a long time ago. Now we are stretched. We are coming into this big trend line. I've talked about this before, being the big bull bear trend line, and on the 4 hour we have stalled out. But again, we've got Apple, we've got Amazon after the bell today. So those could, there's nothing saying they don't gap this up again. And by the way, look at Microsoft here. I've seen a lot of people trying to fade this already. This is not something you fade, okay? This is gapping above all the moving averages and back above the weekly 50, and also taking IGV with it. IGV now reclaiming trend on the weekly and on the daily, gapping above the 100. These are not things you want to fade. And this is a sign of strength here in the market. You can see Meta here gapping above the 50. It is kind of wedged in between that 50 and 200 currently, but this is not stuff to fade. And it's a market that's going up, with bad news. And it went up with bad news yesterday. And, again, I continue to see this doubling down of shorts. Again, we're up 7-8 days in a row. Yes, at some point we will pull back. We talked about that yesterday. We got the 618 here. We've got our big trend line right there. We've got the gap. We've got this previous all-time high. Yes, it will pull back here, but, I don't think, and I've told you guys before, I think when we do pull back, it's not going to result in a lower low. We could even just flag. Remember, and another thing I keep hearing this. Oh, there's too many gaps. There's too many gaps. We can't. What about here? Was there too many gaps here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We had huge gaps here. 6. None of them ever filled. So again, I've learned this a long time ago, and it took me a long time of losing to figure this out. But do not fight bulls when they get strength. They'll tell you when it's over with. The market will tell you when it's over with, but right now, that's why it keeps going higher, because people keep calling tops. And I see doubling, tripling down of that constantly. Now, could we, dip down and get smashed on earnings after the bell today? Absolutely. There's nothing saying that can't happen. We're up, 7 or 8 days in a row. Nobody should be surprised if we pull back to 5,500. Nobody should be surprised if we could even close the week red here and close flat tomorrow at 550, and it would just be a routine dip at this point. Speaking of earnings, we've got right now, I'll show you. So there's levels on Amazon that I'm watching really right now at 200, and Apple as well. I'm just trying to pull it up for you guys here. There we go. So there's this, I believe, is, I'm not sure which one this one was. That one's Amazon. Yes, this one's Apple here. Sorry, I just screen grabbed them because it's easier. But Amazon, yeah, we've got some upside here, possibly to, I don't think we're going to go as high as 215, but I do think it can get up to 200. I think that actually kind of clicked in later. I think 200 is possible here. Apple also 200 on the downside. I do see that as a likely target. So it would be kind of a split, and that could cause a pullback because it would say Amazon's up, but Apple is the market, so it would bring the market down. Now, there is a tail hedge at 230 on Apple, and if they both go up, we're going to see, again, you're going to see a very angry group of people who've been continually trying to short this. And I mean, you'll probably see us up at the 200 moving average. Why I see that could possibly be a thing is we're still holding up here, and I don't see anything from volatility. Typically, these moves get front ran. You guys saw it yesterday. I was talking about it in the video yesterday before we were doing this, and I said, "Oh, look at this. we're pumping really hard, and then look what happened in the after hours. We absolutely ripped." So typically these moves will get front ran a bit, and I just don't really see much from volatility here. VIX is trying to hold on to that pivot from the other day, but that's about it here. VVIX, I think that was a quick, it was either a fake print or a move up on the ISM data this morning, but not really. It's not like we traded up there for a long period of time, but not really seeing it. Now, again, it could come back in, but again, following these accounts here that have just been trying to fade, and they shorted into the hole here, and they've been trying to fade it the whole way up. Right now, I've already booked a lot of gains. I do have a little vol hedge, but that's about it. So I'm a lot more neutral right now here than anything. But there's nothing saying that if we gap up above this trend line, tomorrow with some good favorable earnings, we got non-farm payroll in the morning too. If jobs comes in good, I mean, we can go up to the 200, right? So, again, don't fight strength. I just, saying from years of experience, it's generally not a good idea. And you can sit there and you can talk about all the macro all you want, but the macro's been getting worse and we're going higher. So, really what it comes down to is, can you make money? And we can talk about, oh, well, Aaron, it's going to go low, it's going to go lower. Well, maybe it will. But are you making money? And if you've been short, the answer is no, you're not making money. So bottom line. Anyway, spiders here, they're holding up, kind of pinned to 560 into the end of the day. We've got some interest at 5650 on SPX. So we might go up and tag that before the end of the day, but we're holding up pretty well. So again, market gapping above the 50 as well. And, if we keep going higher, that 200 moving average is going to be a magnet there. Triple Qs, again, same idea. 490, 200 moving average would be your level there. And then I'm going to say really just I'm going to say around yesterday's high here for the SPX would be kind of your big level. Let me just check the ES here because I follow that a little bit more frequently. Yeah, so maybe the 5570-ish area. So that's going to be right here. Already got that marked on ES. So not even really yesterday's high, but really that breakout. As long as we're above that, this can go sideways and just push up. So again, I implore you to just, keep these things in mind here. The market doesn't have to do anything. What if it wants to go to new all-time highs? Well, Aaron, that can't happen. We're going to go into recession. Okay, well, you stare into your crystal ball and tell me that, but you can't magically make those gains, come onto the table right now. So I'm acting like this because I just see this stuff all the time, and I don't want people losing money because trust me, I've fought bull markets before. It's not fun. You lose everything. It's not fun, and that's the end of it. But anyway, Russell 2000 today started off kind of weak, but it did get a nice bid in the morning, and we saw the NASDAQ kind of dip as the Russell kind of caught back up. Still trading at like multi-decade lows versus the spiders. So Russell not really the strongest here. Dow finally got a nice outside move here, but as long as the NASDAQ, as long as semiconductors are leading, we're going to give the market the benefit of the doubt. We are into the 50 moving average right now on the SMH. You got a pivot right there. You got some kind of pivots in this zone too. We did consolidate, so we may be able to go up a little bit more. But again, we are, like I said, we are 4 hours. The top could be in right now, but again, just because you call for rain every day for 2 weeks, right? And then we have sun every single day, and then we finally get a rainy day. You can't, say you were right. IGV up 2% here. We mentioned that already. Dow Transport's up nicely as well. Still trying to break out of this range though. So that is a little bit of a laggard, and that could be a problem. But right now, again, market is still acting well. So we make note of these things, and I think vol hedges are okay here, but that's really all I'm willing to do here. And and trim risk outside of that. But anyway, ZT down a little bit, so twos, really all whole yield curve was down, or whole bond market was lower, yields went up. And again, we got non-farm payroll tomorrow. Jobless claims missed, but yields are up anyway. So it's kind of a little bit of a shakeout there. TLT here down 1.2. Kind of need a higher low here tomorrow. And we got non-farm payroll. I do have a small bond long that I still have left. I already have gains booked on it, but we'll see if it can pump tomorrow. This TLT can still get to 91 from what I can see. So, and it can do that if we get a weak jobs number tomorrow. But otherwise, it's gonna head lower, and we're gonna have this 10-year kind of bull flag sort of look here play out. But anyway, yeah, XHB, so that's up another 1%. Still struggling with that 50 MA, so still a weak sector. VNQ struggling to get back to the 50 MA, but this has had a nice recovery though. This has held up really well. It is into some resistance now. You can see here. That's been a big point of control for the last year, really. So around 89.25, we've talked about that extensively over the last few weeks. XLF reclaiming the 50 moving average. We'll talk about XLV too much here, but that actually gapped down after a nice outside move yesterday. It's still not broken, but interesting to see some of these kind of cyclical sectors lose versus tech here, although XLU's up a little bit. I know XLI had a nice push today too. Yeah, KRE up nicely though, so XLF wasn't the greatest, but KRE, nice pop. Still got to clear this little range here, but it's building a base to try and do that. And then you got broker dealers here trying to reclaim trend. On the daily, it's already basically done that on the weekly. Oil today, finally put in a low. I did add to my oil long right off the lows today, so that was pretty nice. Basically flat on it now, which is nice. And it's trying for a higher low. I wasn't going to, but when I saw this morning, I mean, this was just absolutely collapsed. Look at the RSI here, just absolutely collapsing, kind of right into that support level. That's where it broke out a few weeks ago. It was a good enough spot as any to add, and then yeah, nice 786 right on top of that. So nice pop. There was talk about Trump doing sanctions on Iran, and it's interesting because it didn't. He mentioned that earlier, and it didn't do anything. And then he said it right around here. If you follow the oil markets, you know what I mean. This is at 2:20 p.m. There's always a big move because of the COMEX close. So that news ended up coinciding with that. So I'm not sure if that was a driver, or if it was just gonna, or if shorts were just gonna cover anyway, because he said something about it earlier and the market did nothing, and then it pumped now, and now everybody's acting like it's a big deal. But if you know how the COMEX works, you're always going to get a move. It happened to nat gas too. It happens every day, right? There's always a big move up or down into the COMEX close. But yeah, it might have gotten some extra juice here. Still got to clear $60, and then it can. I mean, you know, bears didn't really build any resistance on the way down here, except for $60, like this little spot right here, 59.50 to 60. This is all just shorts piling in, so this can go right back to 62 pretty fast. So we'll see if oil can complete that. XLE nicely up after the sell yesterday, and you know, back over the 20. This is trying for a higher low here. Maybe even you could argue a third higher low. Not the tightest best pattern, but it's not terrible. XOP trying to set up a base here. That breaks that range. That's going to go hard. Oh, by the way, Exxon, Chevron, and Conoco reporting tomorrow too, so that'll be interesting to see. But anyway, XOP, yeah, got a base here. So is OIH. So if they can break out of that island, that can really squeeze up. So nat gas is up today. Again, it's holding the 3 handle, so it's holding on. Still unable to break through this trend line here. Not really sure where that level. Yeah, that was that weekly level. It's on a different contract now though, so I think probably not the best. But either way, little bounce there. Dollar was strong all day long and very strong against the yen. This is signaling risk on here. It's pure and simple. If we look back here, this line is holding, And that's, you know, a pretty good line of risk, right? We sold off into the end of the year in 2023. We rallied hard. We had the August swoon, right? July to August, bottomed, and we went up into the end of the year. So sold off pretty hard, you know, right around this time into late April or early April was the low. But again, it's signaling risk on. Again, I'm telling you, don't fight this. I know people don't believe me. People make fun of me. It's a bear. Aaron thinks it's a bear trap. Well, yeah, you all got trapped yesterday, and you got trapped here too. I tried to tell you about that. To buy 510. Anyway, all right. Dollar. Let's get to gold. Gold finally coming in. So maybe a little bit of another sign of risk off, or excuse me, risk off coming off, I guess. So risk on. Still not really broken though. I mean, yeah, you're dipping below the 20, but that's really nothing. What I want to see is a weekly, you know, can we damage, at least can we close below like 3,200 on the weekly? Monthly, not the greatest candle, but maybe a little blow off candle, but still not really damaged yet. We've got silver here backing off as well. I still think 35 is a lot of resistance, but silver was, you know, down relatively less than gold. So again, another risk on signal. Platinum here up 34 basis points. Palladium up 1.24, so nothing great there. Copper getting a little bounce after getting rocked. Lastly, Bitcoin, another risk on signal here. This is starting to break up above this. I'd like to see it close above this pivot though. I don't know if it will. It's kind of right on the cusp. But we'll see. Maybe it backs up. Maybe it gets hit tomorrow. You know, maybe Apple drags everything down. But you know, you notice how you consolidate. So this is major resistance, but you notice how we consolidate beneath it. It makes it more minor, right? It makes it weaker. So Bitcoin in pretty good shape here. I think, yeah, MSTR up again too. Look at that. So I mean, these are pretty clean patterns here. Right. Everybody was calling for 50,000 not that long ago. Anyway, so yeah, spider's starting to inch up just a little bit here. Yeah, we could go to 50, yeah, 5650 here potentially. I mean, it's right there. We could also sell to 560 SPY. There's still a lot of interest sitting there for the end of the day. So yeah, either or, it does not really have much consequence. Bottom line, yeah, we are overbought a little bit here. You got a really hot McClellan right now. But this also, I mean, just to go back before, you know, to reference it, you know, the times that we're into these big lows here and then we have a huge thrust, it's usually positive. So again, just because we were overbought doesn't mean we have to go down. We can just go sideways. We can work that off through time and not price. We've seen that plenty of times here. And I mean, we can talk about recession, we can talk about this, we can talk about that, but the bottom line is tax receipts. Uncle Sam can't afford too much of a bear market, honestly. I think Besant has made that kind of clear. But anyway, guys, I'll wrap it up here. Enough with the sermon. You guys can take care. Go find me on carnivoretrades.com. I'll see you guys all tomorrow.